right, it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Today, football teams across the basin will have a test with district play. The 6A's are fresh and back from their break, and it's time to see how the rest of the field has been tested, if they've been tested enough to face some familiar opponents. Well, to get us started, we have some reporters over in Midland and Odessa, respectively. They're out there, fighting the elements, and they're going to witness, and they did witness, some great competition. And the rivalry, of course, we have Jason Freund. He's over at Astound Broadband Stadium, and Tyler Dupnick toughing it out at Ratliff, where we're going to actually get started with the rumble at Ratliff, Odessa High versus Permian. What a great way to start district play, right? A little crosstown rivalry. Our reporter Marcus Risen was out at Ratliff earlier to assess how this rivalry is going as of late.
Odessa versus Permian, one of the biggest rivalries in West Texas high school football. With a rivalry this big, there's bound to be some knowledgeable tailgaters hard at work, hours before the game. We asked them some hard-hitting questions.
Honestly, it's just about tradition.
It's big. It's very big.
It means some good, clean fun.
Competing against the best.
There's always been back and forth between OHS and Permian.
Like OHS versus Permian has been the biggest rivalry of all of Texas. It's very well known. You all know Friday Night Lights.
But it normally means that you're familiar with your opponent, that you know them well.
Something that means a lot to this town, even though it's always going to be a big thing. I believe we're just a big family,
and that you're willing to battle fiercely. And so this rivalry's known for that.
You get the best of the best out here on a Friday night in one of the greatest stadiums, I believe, in the state of Texas. Has a lot of sacred ground, a lot of memories made here. Hey, I graduated with Roy Williams, former Dallas Cowboy, Lion, Chicago Bear, and all that. We're good friends. I see him all the time, and he may be at the game tonight.
Number 15, Johnny Campos. Thank you very much.
My brother. He was a cornerback in the 95 team. Number 16, Jaime Varela.
As a youth pastor, all of my students who play are, of course, collectively my favorites.
I think he was 77. That was my best friend, Raymond Rodriguez.
But there's some great kids on both those teams, whether it be Ivan Carrion on OHS, or you've got some guys like Harris Sewell and others on Permian that are great kids. It is much like a college atmosphere, just far more rowdy.
It's just like a big old party.
It's electric. You feel the energy on both sides, whether you're cheering for Permian, whether you're cheering for OHS, you feel all that electricity, all that energy.
The talk of the town.
Oh, the atmosphere is unbelievable. I mean, you got a sold-out stadium here.
And the momentum ebbs and flows along the game.
Everybody cheering back and forth, and you can just feel the energy.
Excitement, the days leading up to the game is very exciting.
There is no other high school football game in Texas like it.
Very exciting stuff, and that's where our Tyler Dupnick is roughing it out there now, and we're going to send it over to him to see how this game ended up shaking out.
Yeah, Jen, I am roughing it out. It's raining, it's cold, but the first half was a lot better. The weather was nice, a lot of highlights. This is my first time at Odessa against Permian. It was an amazing atmosphere here at Ratliff Stadium. And let's go ahead and take a look at those first half highlights. One of the best rivalries in all of Texas high school football. Permian versus Odessa High at Ratliff Stadium. An absolutely packed crowd for both sides. In the first quarter, on the opening drive for the Panthers, it's quarterback Rodney Hall up the middle, 8 yards. He bangs his way into the end zone for the touchdown. Ball came loose, but he was in for the score, and the senior was letting everybody on OHS sideline know about it afterwards, talking trash. Later on in the first quarter, OHS with an opportunity here. Jalen Jones on 4th and goal, trying to make something happen on a scramble, and he's taken down by Kason Clinton. Turnover on downs. The Panthers would later on cash in the second quarter with a 1-yard touchdown plunge by running back Justice Lara to make it 17-0 Mojo. And then late, providing more physicality yet again with 1 second left as time expires in the first half. Lara up the middle with another 1-yard touchdown. A fantastic drive by the Panthers to score right before the half to make it 24-0 Permian. Yeah, final score tonight from Ratliff Stadium, 38-7, Permian with the win over Odessa High. I got a chance to talk to Coach Jeff Ellison afterwards for Permian. He was very pleased with the execution of the game plan. They had all 5 of their touchdowns were on the ground. They were the more physical team tonight. They're still undefeated now, 1-0 in district play as well. They've won 9 straight games against their crosstown rivals. Coming into tonight, they were averaging 30 points margin of victory, and they won by 31 tonight. So Jenna, it was certainly a great night for Mojo. Their side of the crowd had a lot of fun tonight, certainly.
Well, thanks, Tyler. Now on to our next 6A district competition between Midland High and San Angelo Central. And this time it's Jason Freund who had a front seat for this one. Jason, how'd the Bulldogs keep the good times rolling, if they did?
Well, it was a tough night for the Bulldogs on a cold and eventually quite wet and rainy night out here, as the Bulldogs did squander their first few offensive opportunities, scoring a touchdown in one of their first possessions, however going 3 and out and having struggles in the red zone all day long in the first half. Meanwhile, San Angelo came to play, and quarterback Tyler Hill really impressed with how his performance came. Speaking of performances, let's see some of those first half performances right now. Midland High kicking off district play at home and squaring off with the San Angelo Central Bobcats on a cloudy Friday night. Midland marched down the field in their first possession, and Mecky McCoy cashes in from the 3-yard line for his first touchdown of the game. Later in the first, we got ourselves a tie ball game. Jake Cunningham pitches to McCoy. He gets a block, makes a man miss. Little stutter step to throw another Bobcat off him, and he's out of bounds for a 20-plus yard gain. Now Midland deeper in a hole, need points. McCoy again on the toss, tries to avoid a man but goes down after a long 30-yard gain. San Angelo was up in this one, 21-10 at the half.
Okay, so Coach, I know very tough loss. You came back, you almost had them at the very end. Can you tell me what you told your players in the locker room after the game?
Yeah, the main thing we talked about is that all of our goals are still in front of us, and so we're extremely disappointed with the outcome of this, and you know, the way we played that led to that outcome. But the fact is we still got 4 weeks left, and so all the goals that we set for ourselves back in the spring and the summer, we're not going to fold up now, and just because this didn't go our way tonight. So we've got to watch the tape and just get back in the horse tomorrow and figure out how to be better, and that's what these guys will do.
Well, first off, I must apologize, as that first touchdown was not scored by Mecky McCoy, but instead Briley Perez. However, Mecky McCoy was very busy in the second half, scoring 2 touchdowns and bringing Midland very close to taking this game away from San Angelo. Unfortunately, Midland would fall down 28-25 as the final onside kick attempt was not recovered. So that's gonna be it from me at Astound Stadium. Jenna, back to you.
Thanks, Jason. Tough one for the Bulldogs, but we got everything by way of the 6A district start. Legacy may be on the road, but we still got you covered with this battle against Friendship. Well, the Tigers would be the ones getting this one started with this pass from Hudson Hutchington. As he rolls out of the pocket, he finds his receiver, Leighton Stone, up the middle and finds pay dirt. Tigers would leave 7-0 early, but a little later in that half, Legacy still fighting off the punt return. They bring it all the way back to the 25, putting them in scoring position. But then 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in quarter one. It's Legacy quarterback, you know him, Davila drops back and finds Skylar Wilburn wide open in the field, and he brings it into the end zone with ease. Legacy would finally get on the board after trailing by 21-0. It's 21-7 after the first. All right, sticking in Midland, the Mustangs over at MCS hosted the Saints from All Saints in Fort Worth for their first TAPS contest. This clash started off quickly with the Saints special teams group giving the offense great field position with the opening kick, and they would take it all the way down and get, again, great field position there as they get close to the 20, and then it was their offense, it was the Saints, it was a pass there that would go for a touchdown, but then it was just everything that was going Fort Worth, of All Saints Fort Worth's way, as the quarterback would sneak in to score to go up by a touchdown. But then the signal callers were going back and forth. This time it was Blake Pruitt who had an opportunity to counter, and he does by trotting down in the middle of the field for a big game. But then when one quarterback does something, the other says, hey, I can do that too. And it was another score for the All Saints quarterback, and it would be first quarter 13-7, and it would end up being Midland Christian who slips out of that one. And coming up, Monahans hosted its first district game, so we'll see how that shook out. And Crane and Reagan County keeps us going here on Game Time next.
We're the Panthers from Permian High, and you're watching Game Time on News S9. Go, go, go!
Thank you.
I'm coming.
Other thing, I don't think you floated Fort Stockton, but yeah.
Just give me 2 seconds.
Yep. Mic check on Aaron. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check on.
Welcome back to Game Time. We've made it through the clashes happening in Midland and the Odessa area, but what about the tests from all across the basin? To catch you up on some of that action, we will look to Aaron Galvin, who's in studio with us. Look who it is. He's going to take us around the area. Aaron, please take it away.
Hey, that's right, Jenna. We had so many big games tonight, and let's take things out first to Monahans. They're hosting Pecos, where the Eagles were trying to bounce back on the road after a couple of tough losses. Let's start with the Lobos with the ball in the red zone. You're going to see quarterback Chino Navarrete keep it himself off of the fake, and it's a 21-7 lead early for Monahans. And here, the Eagles punting on 4th down, but the snap goes over the punter's head, recovered by the Lobos in great field position. And then on the very next play, Navarrete going to keep the ball again. And 10 yards later, he's in the end zone, putting Monahans up 28-7. It was all good for the Lobos tonight, and they would cruise to a 49-10 win. Now let's hear from the head coach of the Lobos after the big win.
3 wins in a row going into district play now. How do you feel about the next win?
Well, I feel good about it. We're happy that our kids played a complete game, battled through some adversity, and they did a great job finishing the game the way they're supposed to.
Reagan County, as we move on, they're coming off of a thrilling overtime win last week over Kermit, and they go back on the road tonight where they faced Forsan, and let's check out those highlights. The Buffaloes looking to defend the home field, and the Owls looking to stay hot, as I mentioned. For Sand's defense, they really set the tone early in this one, folks, as number 38, Grant Roman, swoops in for the interception to put the first points on the board. Next, it was time for the offense to eat. The ball handed off to Kevin Kilgora, who's going to dodge some defenders for the touchdown. And the Buffaloes, they weren't just happy with a lead rolling into halftime. They wanted to be dominant. And number 64, Weston Thomas, is going to apply the pressure there. That's going to force a fumble. Nolan Park sees his opportunity, and he's going to scoop it up and run the distance to make it 26-0. For Sand all over Reagan County in this one. They win 40-7. And hey, stick around because we've got more highlights from a busy week 7 around the Permian Basin. Coming up, we'll check on the Wink Wildcats.
We're the Lobos from Monahans High School, and you're watching Game Time on News West 9. Let's go, Lobos! Let's go, Green!
Welcome back to Game Time. Let's check in on one last matchup tonight. Over at Wink, the undefeated Wildcats have already played in their first district opponent and now welcome the Eagles from El Dorado. Well, this one got sloppy with an exciting first quarter. It was 3 fumbles in 3 minutes. It was the Wildcats fumbling, and then it was the Eagles, and then the Wildcats again. But then finally, the Wink offense would get back on track with an impressive offensive start with Cannon Gibson. He does a spin and takes it all the way to the end zone. Even got our camera guy a little bit lost in that one for the first score. The group will go up 7-0 after the extra point. And then a turnover on downs, a continued turnover machine helps out the Wildcats in the second, because after an Eagles turnover on downs, Gibson capitalized with a throwing touchdown pass to Ethan Cahill to make it 14-0 at the half. All right, coming up, it's the best of the best. That's right, it's top plays.
We're the Wake Wildcats. You're watching Gametime on News West 9.
Yeah!
We're back with top plays. These are the highlights of the highlights, the best of the best. It's top plays, but you're going to want to make sure that you go and you vote on my Twitter page at Alike Jenna at 8:30 a.m. ish, because it takes time to put the polls in there as well. We're going to have all the nominees. We have 3 plays this week. Let's get right into it. So let's start with some quarterback action out in Wink. It's Cannon Gibson, who evades the pressure, spins, and then runs for 6 for an impressive escape and trots toward the end zone. That honestly would be our only offensive nominee. You can always DM me your submissions as well. Now it's on to some exciting defense. It's Crane's JJ Victorino with the strip interception. And speaking of defense, number 64, Weston Thomas applies the pressure, forces the fumble, and Nolan Park sees his opportunity, scoops it, and scores it for the distance. Well, if you liked what you just saw, there's way more where that came from. Overtime is next. That's where we're going to have everything that might have slipped between the cracks. We have some more game highlights, and we're also going to have you covered with player interview, coaches interview, everything that you can imagine. You're going to want to look on our website and our app coming up in just a few minutes. I'll make sure to see you there.